If you clicked on this video, then you are probably hoping to start making more money, and I have a very persuasive 5-step formula that can help you achieve just that. The problem with asking for a pay rise is that when most people approach the conversation with their boss, they just don't know the right way to approach it. With a little guidance, it's easier than you think to negotiate a raise. At the end, I will also give you a bonus tip, which is how to handle the objection if they say no, and turn that no into a big fat yes. For those of you who are new here, I talk all things job search, career growth, and personal development, and the whole mission behind this channel is for you to gain competitive edge over your colleagues or fellow job seekers in order to achieve your career goals. Let me start by saying, who doesn't want more money? As a recruiter, it is extremely rare that I speak to any person that doesn't want a raise, so you shouldn't feel guilty or awkward about this. The reality is though, you probably don't know how to persuade your boss to give you it. Firstly, you need to stop waiting for the money to come to you, and you have to approach your boss. Free money isn't a thing. No one will come up to you and say, "Hey Jess, you did your job, well done, here's another $10,000. Oh, and do you want a new job title as well?" If this has happened to you, and I'm sure there is a handful of very high achievers that this has happened to, you are truly blessed. Unfortunately though, this isn't the way most businesses operate, and if you want a pay rise, you're going to need a strategy. My 5-step strategy to preparing to ask for a pay rise the right way is this. Firstly, you should do your research and find out the market rate for the role that you do. You can do this by Googling the average salary for the role that you do in your city, going to online job boards and seeing what other companies pay for your position, or speaking to recruiters. Make sure that when you do your research, you don't just type how much your job pays. You need to check your city as well, because different locations have different costs of living and therefore the average salary varies. From this research, the second step is to have an exact figure in mind which you will ask for. The reason it is so important to have an exact figure in mind is because if you say you want between $90,000 and $100,000 per year, your manager will hear that you want $90,000. Whatever this figure is, be realistic and make sure that you are satisfied. Once your pay rise is agreed, you probably won't get another one for a year or two, so this figure really needs to satisfy your needs. Once you know exactly the amount you will ask for, the third step is to be able to justify the pay rise in a way which adds value to your company. Yes, that's right. You have a much higher chance of getting what you want if you highlight the benefits to them. If you say you want a raise because your rent's just increased, your expenses are now higher, or the kids need to attend more activities, you are very unlikely to get it. Instead, you need to really consider what you offer them in exchange for that pay rise. A pay rise is ultimately an exchange of cash payment in return for an outcome for the business. Your employer wants to know what you are achieving to earn that raise. Factors which add value to your employer can include: if you have accumulated more experience over time and are completing tasks faster than you were before, if you have recently completed studies and your knowledge is able to now enhance your skill set or ability to succeed in the role, if you have recently taken on any extra work or projects, if your outcomes or results have excelled lately, for example, exceeding your targets, or finally, if you are now training and or leading other members of the team in a leadership type capacity. Even if from your research you have realized that you're being underpaid, never just state this as being the reason. You can definitely say it as one of your reasons, but be sure to include some value adding factors as well. Once you have pre-planned and know exactly what you want to say, prepare a pitch which sells why it is in the employer's best interest to give you a raise. Keep this clear and concise and really ingrain the points in your mind so that when you verbalize them, you do so with ease. An example pitch could sound like, "I've been with the company for 2 years now and I feel like I've contributed a great deal to our success in that time. I have brought on 10 new clients, exceeded my targets consistently over the past 6 months, and I have started mentoring new starters. I love this role, but lately recruiters have been contacting me and I've realized that I'm paid $15,000 less than the average market rate. I'm asking for a pay raise from $80,000 to $95,000 to reflect the hard work I've put in and the value that I've added." Then stop. Let them speak. It is so important to note here that you may have caught them off guard and they will rarely just say, "Okay, no problem, that's fine, let me just finalize that for you now." Most companies will hear you out and take on board your request, and then they'll have to seek approval from either their manager or HR. This may be a negotiation, so make sure that you're prepared for that as well. Okay, so once you've prepared your pitch and you know exactly what you want to say, practice speaking aloud until 100% confident. There is power in speaking aloud because not only can you hear whether or not you're saying is articulated correctly, it is also super awkward to do, meaning that if you can master this, you'll absolutely nail the real conversation. Really do invest some time in this part because the more confident you come across, the more your request will be said with conviction and therefore your manager is more likely to agree. What not to do is say, hey, I would really like about 5 to 15,000 because that's what other companies pay, so just let me know what you can do. Unfortunately, that type of request just won't get you anywhere, and I'll be very surprised if you even got your minimum ask of the $5,000. At this stage, the ideal scenario is that you get your pay rise, but your boss may say that they perhaps can't pay you the $15,000, but they can pay you $10,000, and then it's up to you to decide whether or not that works for you. Sometimes the reason companies don't give you exactly what you want is because all companies have some kind of structure in place where staff are paid in accordance with their capabilities. Larger businesses often have minimum and maximum pay band type systems which are preset by HR based on the market pay rate. If your boss comes back to you and says a raise just isn't possible, know that a no is actually a not yet. If you get told no, then what you need to do is negotiate some measurable targets, goals, and timeframes to turn that no into a yes. The best way to do this is by setting SMART goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. You want to set an overarching goal which is very specific, that could be measured by your input or output, which is attainable and relevant to your promotion, and you need to set an exact time frame. Speak to your manager about this and agree a goal which works for both you and the business. An example would be, I want to be promoted to a senior recruiter, and to do this, I will make sure that I generate $40,000 revenue per month consistently for the next 3 months. If you commit to that and then achieve it, your manager will have a really hard time saying no to your pay rise when the time comes around because number one, they have agreed this, but also you've increased your value, you've overachieved, and you did exactly what you said you would. Remember as well, if you don't ask, you don't get. You need to pluck up the courage to ask for a raise and then follow my 5-step strategy to prepare your pitch. I would also love to know how you get on, so let me know in the comments. That's all from this video, guys. If it helped you, then please give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe to be notified of new videos that I post weekly. For those of you who are looking for a brand new position, whether that's a like-for-like position, a more senior role, or you completely want to change the direction of your career, head to jessicakimber.com/interview academy to check out my interview preparation program so that you can learn how to answer any interview question with complete confidence and sell your transferable skills. I will also leave a link in the bio as well, so be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more like this, then click the video on screen now and I will see you soon.